backlash against Katy Perry is not ending, with both Joe Rogan and Martha Stewart chiming in over the weekend, along with PR experts who are claiming the singer may face career extinction.
Joe Rogan just humiliated Katy Perry for turning a 4-minute space float into a global punchline.
And Joe Rogan is sitting there with Tim Dillon just mocking her. She's basically a guru now.
Her glittery feminist mission backfired so hard, even Hollywood elites are dragging her.
That showcased the utter defeat of American feminism. This author, the trip leaned on vision of women's empowerment that is light on substance and heavy on childlike girlish silliness.
From dead daisies to diva suits, this wasn't empowerment. It was a 500K PR stunt gone hilariously wrong.
As a non-serious event, a PR stunt.
Joe Rogan, naturally, joined the fun. He called Katy Perry a guru. And honestly, the way she was babbling about divine feminine energy and surrendering to the unknown, he wasn't even wrong.
I'm much better now that the ladies are back from space.
Thank you for having me. What were they up there, 10 minutes?
Well, it was very profound. I don't know if you've seen Katy Perry talk about it, but she's basically a guru now.
Yeah. What were her findings? That's my question.
Well,
What were her findings?
She sounded like she was coming back from a yoga retreat, not suborbital space. It's amazing what a few zero-gravity selfies will do to a person's ego. Meditation? In a rocket? Girl, you were airborne for less time than an iPhone update. Let's relax.
What did
brought
she
a
learn?
daisy, which is super important.
What a daisy.
Katy Perry went on a joyride that lasted a grand total of 11 minutes. And if that sounds short, wait till you hear that only 4 of those minutes were in actual zero gravity. 4. As in, less time than it takes to microwave a Hot Pocket and realize it's still cold in the middle.
Wow.
Look at her nails. So pretty.
Now, so they go up there and they float for like 10 minutes?
At least.
And then they come down.
Let's not minimize this.
No, I know.
Let's not minimize this. For real, they did float for 10 minutes.
But somehow, the media tried to sell this glittery elevator ride to the edge of space like it was a revolutionary leap for womankind. Groundbreaking. Literally not even.
That's not stopping for Katy Perry anytime soon. Look, and I don't think we should be bullying her.
Katy Perry didn't just take a ride. No, she sold this as a spiritual pilgrimage. Gayle King was out here crying about the ride of a lifetime.
I don't even know how much it's going to change me.
And Gayle King is upset.
You have never said to an astronaut, boy, what a ride.
And Lauren Sanchez? She said it was the highest high. Bold talk from people who barely crossed the Kármán line and were back on Earth before most people finish an Uber ride.
Let's celebrate female astronauts.
And because they were
did it.
united.
Because a lot of men astronauts, they have to go to school.
Right.
They have to learn how to be a pilot first. Then they have to join the Air Force.
That's right.
And let's not forget Megyn Kelly, queen of the media roast, who popped in and did what had to be done. She took one look at this space fluff and said what we were all thinking. Are we seriously comparing this influencer field trip to actual astronauts like Alan Shepard?
It's over the top. It's over the top.
It's not just about going to space. It's the training.
They're training?
The man walked on the moon. Meanwhile, Katy Perry floated in a jumpsuit for a few minutes and came back ready to sell you healing crystals.
They did 2 days.
And the media? Oh, they were serious. Like, super serious. They tried to wrap this entire thing in feminist gold foil and beam it into the history books. But here's the problem. When your empowerment moment is funded by billionaires, lasts less than the runtime of a sitcom episode, and includes Instagram captions about divine energy, people are gonna laugh. And laugh they did.
And again, obsession with makeup and having to look glam while you do it doesn't speak for all women. Sure, some women, but this generalization of all of it was just embarrassing for most women out there reacting and responding. This did not go over well.
Now let's talk about the line that should honestly go down in cringe history. We weren't just taking space, we were making space. Katy, what does that even mean? You were floating in a capsule, not rewriting physics.
I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and understand that we weren't just taking up space, we were making space. 10 out of 10 review.
The internet pounced on that line like it was a Black Friday deal. It became the meme of the moment, a shining example of how out of touch celebrity culture has become. It's giving inspirational poster in a yoga studio, not NASA material.
Some better
The problem
ones.
is they never get the
What
right
is funny is immediately after
actually,
they
that
landed.
one's pretty good.
It is funny
Let me
to
see
do
the one
something
I
like
sent you.
this, and then everyone hates you. Like everyone hates them.
They
now.
shouldn't hate her. Oh, no.
And she didn't stop there. Katy started talking about God's laughter and flowers and how her daughter Daisy inspired her journey to the stars. That's cute and all, but this wasn't a Pixar movie. It was a Jeff Bezos rocket launch, sponsored by vanity and PR desperation. Joe Rogan, bless him, asked the real question. What were her findings? Because last I checked, there was no data, no science, just vibes and sparkles.
So proud of us. I really am proud of me.
Flowers for me, I believe, are like God's laughter. I have so much love for my daughter Daisy, and I have so much love for Mother Earth.
Lauren Sanchez, not to be outdone, hit us with "We're all in this together." Ma'am, you spent $500,000 on a glorified amusement park ride. The rest of us are trying to figure out how to afford groceries.
So
Great
funny.
is it that they just get called astronauts.
It's
now.
funny to hear the richest guy in the world's
Lauren Sanchez.
wife go, "We're all in it together."
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if people feel that.
One person on Twitter nailed it. Some people can't afford eggs, and Katy Perry is out here floating around like it's a Nobel mission. That's the kind of reality check these celebs need engraved on a commemorative plaque.
The Lauren Sanchez quote, "We're all in this together."
Describe it, because you know what I was saying. It was like quiet, but then also really alive. And you look at it and you're like, "We're all in this together."
No, you're not. No, we're not.
Let's now discuss the almighty price tag. A ticket on Blue Origin goes for anywhere between $200,000 to $500,000. That's right. $500,000 for 11 minutes of empowerment. How empowering. You know what's more empowering? Affordable healthcare, clean water, maybe school funding for girls who actually want to become scientists. But sure, Katy Perry's glittery galactic glam trip was the real feminist win, apparently.
There's been a lot of blowback from Hollywood leftists, not just people like you and me. Hollywood leftists, these are the people who are supposed to love them, who are ripping these women to shreds. It's beautiful.
And while we're at it, 2 days of training. That's how long they prepared for this so-called mission. 2 days. Real astronauts train for years. They go through G-force tests, survival scenarios, spacecraft systems, the whole shebang. But Katy and crew? They probably did a few yoga stretches, drank some green juice, learned how to hold in a pee in microgravity, and called it a day.
You have never said to an astronaut, "Boy, what a ride." You know, we duplicated the same
An astronaut.
trajectory that Alan Shepard did back in the day.
First of all, Alan Shepard walked on the moon, Gail. You did not walk on the moon.
Critics didn't hold back either. Many said this wasn't about space, women, or science. This was a desperate Hail Mary to give Blue Origin a boost, because let's be real, they're trailing way behind SpaceX. This flight wasn't a triumph. It was a marketing gimmick dressed up in feminist rhetoric. And the PR experts called it exactly that. A strategic distraction from the fact that Elon Musk is out here launching astronauts into actual missions, while Jeff Bezos sends celebs on influencer retreats to the stratosphere.
Was still alive or still vibrant.
Yeah, and it's
Look at her.
always yeah.
Shout out Daisy.
Wow.
Look at her nails. So pretty.
Now, so they go up there and they float for like 10 minutes.
Joe Rogan, again, landed the punch. Real astronauts recently spent 8 months stranded in space and were rescued by SpaceX. The media barely blinked. But Katy Perry goes for a joyride, and suddenly it's on the cover of every lifestyle mag.
1, 2, 3, taking up space!
I'm so Days! And I am inspirational. I'm proud of me. Good for me. That's the messaging coming back.
Even Wendy's, yes, the fast food chain, got in on the roast. They trolled the mission on Twitter with the same sarcasm we're all feeling. And honestly, When a burger chain is more grounded than your 500K rocket ride, maybe it's time to log off and reevaluate your life choices.
What are you guys going to do up in space? What are you doing up there? I mean, by the way,
they're going for 11 minutes.
Don't show your boobs. Don't get your specially made spacesuit so that we can make sure to see all your curves as you go to outer space. Is that what it is to be a woman?
This wasn't empowerment. This was a vacation. This wasn't history. This was a hashtag. And Katy Perry, who used to light up the charts with actual bangers, now lights up the internet with memes about floating like a plastic bag. Which, funnily enough, is also a line from her own song. Life imitates art, I guess. Or, in this case, art imitates a PR disaster at Mach 3.
I find inspiration in this. You've got some very rich, famous women who were selected because they're rich and famous, not because they've got any understanding of science or space. I think this is just so completely unrelatable to the average person.
Katy Perry, floating in the upper stratosphere, preaching about Mother Earth while hitching a ride on Jeff Bezos' ego rocket. A rocket, mind you, that pumps out more carbon in 10 minutes than most people do in a year. She literally looked down on the Earth and called it beautiful, as if her soul had merged with the ozone layer. Girl, the irony could be seen from space, which, lucky for her, she barely reached.
So much more gracious, and also I think it's a reflection of celebrity culture where it's so much navel gazing and narcissism, where it was about, her and Katy Perry's meditation and her inner love and all that, as opposed to thanking the engineers at Blue Origin. That might be more appropriate.
She praised the Earth while actively participating in a billionaire-funded stunt that's about as environmentally friendly as lighting a tire fire in a rainforest. Blue Origin's carbon footprint is no joke, and yet there she was, floating around like a space fairy, talking about love and connection.
Cynic in me thinks that it was just a marketing strategy by Blue Origin, which is way far behind SpaceX and the commercial private space industry. This is a way to get a lot of media and attention and hype, putting famous people with perfect hair like up in space for 2 minutes in that zero gravity environment.
One PR expert didn't even try to sugarcoat it. They called her a PR pyromaniac. And honestly, where's the lie? She burns more jet fuel than awareness. She's not planting trees, she's planting tweets.
As the making space, try this one. It's so fun when people. Why is it so fun when people get pretentious? Because you're terrified that you would ever do it.
Well, yeah, and I also think it's fun to see somebody who has no self-awareness.
Yeah.
They're always the most fun.
And let's talk about the rocket itself. Because if the mission wasn't ridiculous enough, critics were quick to point out the shape of this rocket. It looked like a giant flying confidence problem. And there she was, riding it into the heavens to spread the gospel of eco-consciousness. You can't scream about climate change while casually burning rocket fuel for fun. That's not activism. That's Instagram cosplay with global emissions.
1, 2, 3, take up space!
What this mission really exposed was the absolute peak of performative environmentalism. It was loud, shiny, self-congratulatory, and completely devoid of substance. The kind of thing that makes actual environmental scientists want to bury their heads in compost. No data, no research, no message beyond yay women, but only women who can afford a $500,000 ticket and custom-made space glam.
I'm so days, and I am inspirational. I'm proud of me. Good for me. That's the messaging coming back.
And then we get to the part that truly made this whole trip feel like a rejected Saturday Night Live skit. The dead daisy. Yes, you heard that right. Katy Perry brought a dead daisy to space, not to study it, not to experiment with it, but to spiritually bond with it. She said it represented awakening. Joe Rogan summed it up best when he called it snipped from its life source. That daisy had more common sense than the entire press release.
And if you don't want people to think it's frivolous, Gail, then don't have the Kardashians' craft side as you take off and Oprah. That might have something to do with our reaction to this as a non-serious event, a PR stunt.
Let's be real. The daisy wasn't the only thing that was dead. So was the credibility of the whole mission. Instead of focusing on innovation or celebrating real scientific advancements, the spotlight was hijacked by Katy Perry's poetic monologues about divine femininity. Her outfit was custom-made to highlight her curves. Because obviously, that's what science needs right now. Cleavage in space. It's not rocket science anymore. It's Fashion Week in orbit.
It is the highest high, and it is surrender to the unknown, and you're feeling that strength. So I feel really connected to that strong, divine feminine right now.
Even Megyn Kelly had to ask, is this what it means to be a woman now? Tight suits, manicures, selfies in microgravity. Meanwhile, women like Jessica Watkins and Christina Koch are out there doing real space missions, studying Earth's magnetosphere, conducting long-term experiments, pushing human limits. And then Katy rolls up like she's the galactic queen of glitter and starts preaching about her aura.
A space mission this morning, saying that you care about Mother Earth and it's about Mother Earth, and you're going up in a spaceship that is built and paid for by a company that's single-handedly destroying the planet.
The contrast couldn't be more insulting. This wasn't female empowerment. This was Barbie Goes to Space. Sequins, sparkle, and zero science. Jessica Chastain reposted a viral Guardian article that called it an utter defeat of American feminism. And honestly, how else do you describe a mission where the most memorable contribution was lipstick and Instagram captions?
I really resent that people are calling it a ride. But I say anybody that is criticizing this, some of them are people I know and like, so I'm a little surprised. A ride sounds frivolous, it sounds insignificant. This was a bona fide flight.
This wasn't empowerment. It was an accidental parody of what corporate feminism has become. Sugar-coated, marketable, and hollow. The whole thing felt like a giant branding campaign for people who want to look like they care about the world while sipping kombucha at 55 miles above it. And then came the fallout. Martha Stewart, yes, actual domestic goddess Martha Stewart, casually reminded the world that she had done zero-G flight training back in 2007. But here's the kicker. She never called herself an astronaut.
She posted a clip of her to remind everybody that she boarded a 727 called G-Force One and experienced what astronauts feel like with zero gravity. She did this back in like 2007 or something. It was 2007. In case you spaced out, in 2007, Martha's always been ahead of her time.
She didn't need a media circus or a TikTok montage. She went, she floated, she moved on. And then there's Katy, throwing a global tantrum of sparkles and spiritual slogans for a 10-minute elevator ride to nowhere.
Comments were delighted, with one reading, "The drag we needed. Martha, goddess of dinner parties and memes."
It's almost poetic that her career is being compared to a satellite, floating aimlessly, orbiting irrelevance. The PR experts didn't even bother being gentle. One said she should take a 1-year break. Not to reflect, not to grow, but as a gift from the universe. Translation: please vanish, it's embarrassing now.
Is this career extinction? I mean, it requires many hits in a row to have career extinction. And the truth is, Katy's had a few when she worked with Dr. Luke again against Kesha's wishes after telling Kesha after Kesha telling Katy what happened to her.
Let's not forget the ghosts of PR disasters past. The Dr. Luke scandal, still haunting her. The Keisha controversy, yeah, that didn't age well either. And now, this space trip. The glittering cherry on top of a collapsing cake. All it did was stitch her name permanently onto the list of out-of-touch celebs who talk big and deliver air. Literally.
Well, yeah, and I also think it's fun to see somebody who has no self-awareness. Yeah. They're always the most fun.
Yeah, now the problem is they don't actually play the right clip. They play this montage and they don't know enough about what's going on there.
Making space. But how great is it that they just get called astronauts?
One commentator didn't hold back. She'll need a telescope to see her career from here. Ouch, but accurate. After Woman's World flopped harder than a fish on land, and this latest performance art masquerading as a mission, Katy has gone from global pop star to full-time meme generator. She used to sing about fireworks. Now, the only thing exploding is her credibility. At this point, Even the Daisy is probably embarrassed to be associated with her. There's a fine line between inspiration and self-parody, and Katy Perry didn't just cross it. She pole vaulted over it in a rhinestone-studded spacesuit. From her earth-hugging PR speeches to her look at me stunt on a rocket that could power a small town, she's managed to prove one thing. No matter how high you go, you can still be completely out of touch. Real astronauts were literally stranded in space for 8 months. 8 freaking months. Their rescue? Handled by SpaceX, not Blue Origin, not Jeff Bezos' flying midlife crisis. SpaceX swooped in, did the job, and those astronauts came home like heroes. You'd think that would dominate the headlines, right? Nah. Media barely blinked. No live streams, no fashion spreads, no I'm proud of me montages.
I warned you, it wasn't good.
They are melodramatic. Katy Perry's.
Astronauts who were just rescued by SpaceX after, 8-9 months in space when they were supposed to be only there for about a week, they had less carry-on than what we just saw there. It looks like they've cured cancer.
Just quiet competence. Meanwhile, Katy Perry floats around for 4 minutes at the Kármán line, a place barely considered the edge of space, and suddenly it's red carpets, talk show interviews, and feminist manifestos scribbled in glitter pen. 4 minutes. That's not even a full round at the gym, yet here she is, acting like she cracked the code to interstellar peace. The Blue Origin squad got more media hype for their space Uber than the actual scientists risking their lives in zero gravity. And we're not talking fringe tabloids here. Major outlets lapped it up like it was the second coming of Sally Ride. Except this time Sally was lip-syncing and promoting skincare lines on the way up.
Cynic in me thinks that it was just a marketing strategy by Blue Origin, which is way far behind SpaceX and the commercial private space industry. This is a way to get a lot of media and attention and hype, putting famous people with perfect hair like up in space for 2 minutes in that zero gravity environment.
The backlash. Oh, it was glorious. Even Hollywood leftists, the usual cheerleaders of celebrity virtue signaling, couldn't stomach the shallowness of it all. When they turn on you, you know you've hit peak cringe. This wasn't just people being mean on the internet, this was everyone, left, right, center, finally standing up and saying, hey, maybe empowerment shouldn't come with a $500,000 price tag and a glitter filter. The media tried so hard to push it as a new chapter for women in science. But here's the twist. There was no science, no research, no contribution to STEM, no data, no education programs, not even a sponsored school telescope giveaway. Just vibes, jumpsuits, and the spiritual journey of someone whose biggest takeaway was, I believe flowers are God's laughter. If that's the new chapter, please close the book.
I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and understand that we weren't just taking up space, we were making space. 10 out of 10 review.
And that's when it happened. The woke lash. Finally, people had enough. This wasn't just about Katy Perry anymore. This was about every shallow, overpriced, fake deep campaign where celebrities preach from pedestals they paid to stand on. The public turned around and hit the eject button. Symbolism without substance? Hard pass. It was a line in the sand. A glittery, star-shaped, rocket-fueled line.
Look at the state of the world and think about how many resources went into putting these women into space. For what? What was the marketing there? And then to try to make it like, I'm disgusted, literally, I'm disgusted.
Now onto the internet, where dreams and delusions go to die. Katy's little ground kiss moment when she returned from space, it was supposed to be emotional, inspirational. Instead, it turned into a comedy special. Olivia Wilde reposted the pic with a mic drop caption, $1 billion bought some good memes. And that was it. The mission had officially become a meme. The only thing floating higher than Blue Origin was the collective sarcasm of the entire internet.
Olivia Wilde reposted an image of Katy Perry kissing the ground. She was acting like she got back from Apollo 13.
It's so much money to go to space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who can't even afford eggs. What are they going to do up there that has made it better for us down here?
Every social platform turned it into a roast fest. TikTok, parodies, Twitter, memes for days, Reddit. She was trending next to flat Earth debates. The seriousness she tried to project was shredded pixel by pixel until all that was left was the digital equivalent of a Katy Perry piñata. She wanted to be the hero of a generation. She ended up the punchline of the week.
Last second, they added me to space. I'm bringing this. It was in my bag, and I was like on the subway, and I got the text, and they were like, do you want to go to space? So,
and who can forget the iconic quote, "I'm proud of me." If delusion was an Olympic sport, Katy would medal in every category. The internet took that line and ran wild. People posted side-by-sides of Katy in her post-flight glow against actual female scientists working with real data, real experiments, real impact. One caption simply read, "Guess which one changed the world?" Hint, it wasn't the one holding a dead daisy in a designer spacesuit.
Gayle King, upset, had a few things that she needed to explain to those of us who don't understand what a hero she is.
Even her fans started jumping ship. Former supporters weren't angry, they were disappointed. Because there's something truly painful about watching someone go from pop culture powerhouse to full-time meme. Katy used to dominate the charts. Now she's more mascot than musician. Somewhere between teenage dream and space cosplay, she traded relevance for ridicule. She's not just out of touch, she's out of orbit. This wasn't her comeback, it was her career vapor trail. What we saw here was not an evolution, it was a branding collapse in slow motion. Or in this case, Mach 3. The space stunt backfired so violently that it made people rethink every Katy Perry moment of the last 5 years. The songs, the weird press, the activism that sounds like it was pulled from an aromatherapy brochure. It all started to look like one long glitter-covered identity crisis. Now, let's talk about the final splashdown. Not just of the capsule, but of her credibility. If this mission had been marketed as a lighthearted celebrity selfie trip, nobody would have cared. The internet would have chuckled, moved on, and maybe even celebrated the novelty. But framing it as the future of women in space? That's what did her in. That's what sparked the public eye roll heard round the globe. Because let's be clear, nobody was mad about women going to space. People were mad that it was being sold as the pinnacle of progress while doing absolutely nothing to help the women still trying to afford community college, let alone space camp. This wasn't trailblazing. This was tone-deaf, overproduced, and empty. From Megyn Kelly's savage media takedown to Joe Rogan's podcast jabs, the whole world started connecting the dots. This wasn't a celebration of female power. It was a celebration of celebrity excess wrapped in a pink empowerment bow. Katy didn't launch a movement. She launched a meme. And memes don't change the world. They just loop endlessly while everyone points and laughs.
To going up, you said that you needed to go to space to heal. I know you're only a few minutes removed from this.
I feel super connected to love.
Goodness. I will never be the same.
Public sentiment has changed. People are done being guilt-tripped by celebrities who sip champagne on climate jets and call it activism. The age of clapping for empty gestures is over. Now, people want authenticity, impact, real stories. Not recycled speeches and space-age selfies from people who think spiritual awakening happens at 55 miles above sea level. And the real question isn't whether Katy went to space. It's whether she's ever coming back down to Earth. Because from where we're standing, it's starting to look like she left her career floating somewhere out there, cold, lifeless, and just a little too close to the sun. So, was it space exploration or just influencer inflation? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, sub, and hit that bell, because this roast is just getting started.